Let's talk about my May wrap up in my journal and the books I've read. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. And it's that time again. I feel like the months are now going by so quickly. So I wanted to share my month of May in my journal. And this is a no-tea planner for anyone who wants to know. It is the 9659B6, and I absolutely love this planner because the commitment is there, but not really so much. I could pretty much fill up these 2 pages with whatever I want for the week or whatever impacted me or what I'm reading, what I'm watching, so on and so forth. So I really do love this layout. It allows me to see like what happened, and I have really been enjoying it. And even though I've been behind, I still am able to catch up easily because it's not a page per day. So this is my first week in May, my first full week. And as you can see here, I finished The Heat of the Everflame. Really, really love the Kindred Curse saga. I also read Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I spoke about. And I really, really appreciated this writing, and it really like allowed me to like dive deep and even write about it. When a book wants you to like write something about it, you know that it's a good book because you're just like thinking about all these thoughts, right? And then Great Big Beautiful Life. This felt like a warm cup of coffee and a hug. I really enjoyed this story about two writers who are trying to bid for this epic memoir, and this is a romance novel. And Emily Henry has a great way of just like writing words and conveying, that tension, proximity, the closeness, the relatability of the characters and their emotions. And I just really had a good time reading this. This was a very quick read for me. I probably read this in 2 days because it was just very, very quick. And I really enjoyed the ending. I thought it was really, really cute. And then this is me reflecting like on my reading journal and just my regular journal. Just kind of like thinking about, what I'm doing, how I'm using it. It's already going into the 6th month of the year. Can you believe it? And we're already halfway through the year. So this is the time of year I start reflecting on like, is the system working? What's not working? Things like that. And then I'm going to put this behind here. And then, of course, in this one here, I watched You in a couple of days. I didn't want to know the ending, didn't want to know, any kind of like spoilers. And I felt like the ending was rushed. Like there was this whole beautiful like plot line with the past, seasons. And then this season, I felt like everything kind of wrapped up into one quick bow, and it ended rather quickly. It was good. And I thought that, the way this character actually thinks like everyone else is responsible and he's just trying to help and save women, but he really is like just on another level, right? Like the ending had me. I was just like, okay. And then I read If Cats Disappeared from the World. This is a great story. This is something very quick that you can read, and it really allows you to think and have some introspection within yourself, ask important life questions, and really think about everything that has happened in life and the relationships and the connections that you have with the people around you, and how technology has impacted, communications in some ways. And I really, really enjoyed this book as well. Then this week was a lot. Like I think I read 8 books in the month of May because I was flying through books very quickly. I read The Maidens. That went very quickly. I liked it. I know people have like good and bad things to say about it, but I really enjoyed the book. I did. I also read Octavia Butler's Kindred. That was just everything. I even found the show, and then I was like disappointed that they didn't renew it or finish it. So But I really enjoyed this book. This really goes back into history, her time traveling with herself first and then her husband, and then going back into the South during slavery and just experiencing that. This was a great book. I was literally, I couldn't put it down. I was teary-eyed. I felt all the feels. And then I read A Studying in Drowning. This was another one that was very quick. This is dark academia, very much, kind of finding the fake king and going into this house. And it was set up to be like an architectural design, but really there was like a story behind a story within another story. And then it's also like, a little bit of romance. So I really did enjoy that. That was just like a nice little palate cleanser. I also watched The Empress. I'm really into like historical fiction, if you haven't been able to tell. And I really like learning about certain periods of time. And I just love the show. And I really liked learning about different areas, different people, different ways that people, I guess, interacted during that time period. Then I read Of Women and Salt. This had me in tears. This story, first of all, there's trigger warnings, okay? There is SA, there is intimate partner violence. There is a lot of struggle between abusing substances, things like that. And there's a story within a story between people just kind of like immigrating and the stories behind that. And it's cross-connected, but it's 5 generations of women in Cuba. This had me crying. Like, when I tell you, this book had me in my thoughts, my feels. I have things highlighted because I'm keeping this definitely forever. And I will go back and read it, and I will go back and reference it. I love that there's history pieces in here revolving Cuba, from the time of just important moments in life, from just, rebellion and war, and the history behind making cigars, listening to stories, Victor Hugo writing to the people of Cuba. There is so much in this. I was a mess reading this, a mess. So good though, so good. And then, so that was that week. So I wrote about that. Then I started reading, okay, first, wait. I read this book. This was another quick read, 2 days. I also read this in 2 days because the story is just captivating. This is another one, the story is just captivating. Again, this is by Isabel Allende, and this is by Gabriela Garcia. So this is another story talking about just immigration. It's a story of immigration, but there's 2 stories in one. This also talks about World War II and what happened with children going in kinder transport. And it's 2 people's lives who are very separate, but then intertwined in the future. And this also had me just like feeling all my feels. I was crying. It talks about very specific things that happen to people, women who immigrate or face injustices and violence. And this was another one that I was just like a mess. So both very good books. Then from there, I decided to start reading The Goldfinch. I didn't finish it because I'll tell you why. But this is a story I'm thoroughly enjoying, and I'm taking my time reading it. So I got heavily inspired by this. I decided to like pull up some articles, write about the articles. This is in Bustle. Have some pictures of New York City there. Here's a picture of the Goldfinch. There was a photographer mentioned between a talk between Theo and Hobie, and or Hobie's friend. Sorry, Hobie. Yeah, Hobie. And initially it started with Hobie's friend and them coming together through this tragic inciting incident in the story. And he was a photographer, Matthew Brady, who took these specific photos. And I don't know why I just like really was interested in this, but I read about him, learned about him, have a picture of the Goldfinch here, have some of the article here, but also just kind of like, wrote about what I learned about the Goldfinch and the artist Fabritis, and then how this story and the artists like correlate and things like that. I just really, really enjoyed that. Then I have like a picture of a museum to set the tone and the vibes. And that's pretty much where I am right now. This is the beginning of June, and I thoroughly am enjoying this. I know the story is going to be it's already very sad. There's a lot of the way Donna Tartt writes, there's a lot of emotion, and her writing is like lyrical poetry in a book. And the way she describes things, the way she describes feelings, the way she describes how people are feeling, the characters are feeling in the moment at that time. I am really enjoying this, and I know this is going to be sad. This is going to be filled with so many emotions, so I am taking my time with this. And I am currently on page, 271? And this is a pretty chunky book. This is about a 700-something page book. And I am taking my time because I kind of don't want to find out what happens, but I do. It's one of those books. It's very relatable. But yeah, so I am really, really thoroughly enjoying this. Now, reason being that I decided to take a break from the Goldfinch is I started this entire series. I read Crescent City 1, Crescent City 2, and I'm already on Crescent City 3 within this entire week. I literally read Crescent City 1 in about 3 days, Crescent City 2 in 2 days, and now I am on this book right here. This is the last one. First of all, I know that there are very mixed bag feelings about the author herself. This I ended up getting as a gift prior to like a year, and one thing I will say about Sarah J. Maas's work and her stories is that there is a Maas verse. If you don't know, the way that this story intertwines with A Court of Thorns and Roses, the second book towards the end does it as well. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there is an intertwining of the Maas verse, of the worlds, of the characters in this story. And I was like, ah! I literally was like yelling from like joy, from surprise. And one thing I could say is that her writing literally puts you in that world, in the story, in that time. It makes you want to pay attention to every specific detail, every specific history, everything like that, because this book right here has so much going on. This series has so much going on, and it's like either people love it or people don't love it. So I definitely have been spending my entire week this week reading those books, and these books are chunky. I forgot to show you, but yeah, this is like an 800-page book, and Crescent City 1, same thing. Crescent City 2, same thing. And I have just been reading these books like if they were popcorn reads, like 2 to 3 days. So that is definitely what I've been doing. So I wanted to kind of share what I've been journaling. This is what my journal looks like now. Oh, let me go to the front actually of the book here. I have read a total of 26 books so far, and I'm still going. I'm not going to count the first half of the year until the end of June because this is still the 6th month. But so far I read 26 books. Now, I'm also working on Anna Karenina. I stopped The Count of Monte Cristo because I heard about this story and I was like a little more intrigued. And I decided to start reading it. And as you can see, same thing. This I will always go back to because I thoroughly am enjoying the writing. I'm thoroughly enjoying the story. And this is just basically like, a love affair that shouldn't have happened in the time, at a specific time in history. And, St. Petersburg, and during a specific time period where they're talking about, politics and women. And so you get a good understanding of history with this and how women were expected to behave in society. I'm really also enjoying this, and I'm also taking my time reading it. This is something that I want to finish by the end of the year. I'm not giving myself like, oh, I need to finish it this month, because when it comes to good literature, I want to soak it in. I want to read it, and I really want to take my time kind of finishing that. But I have them listed here because when I do finish, I could put down like what I rated them. But so far it's been 26 books. And this planner, or I keep on saying planner, this journal is not as thick as I expected. It's going very nicely, and I'm looking to see how thick and chunky she gets. I love this. This is the perfect non-committal like journal there is for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was quick, I know, but remember that, you know, reading and getting captivated in the story is something that we can all do, and taking time for yourself is something that we all need. All right, until next time, bye-bye.